recorded this voiceover and I realized I must not have exactly hit record when I thought. And rather than trying to redo the entire thing, I figured I would just film this and say the following. It is currently October. We're already a week into the 10th month, and it is Disability Awareness Month. And I realized that there's something that I have been trying to figure out a way to talk about, and today we're going to do that. This video is definitely a little bit on the controversial or tough side as compared to some other content on this channel, and so I wanted to give that preface. Again, this voiceover picks up kind of in the middle. I'm talking a little bit about what's been going on here in the studio space, which I'm still working on and intend to have hopefully in a better state in the next 6 weeks or so. There has just been so much more going on than I ever could have kind of put together, and this entire process is taking a while. So I have to apologize. I'm slowly rotating so that you can kind of see maybe behind me a little bit what's going on, which is a whole lot of nothing. But we're working on things one day and one project at a time. And at this point, I'm going to turn you over to past Chris, and by past Chris, I mean about 20 minutes ago, Chris. So thanks for watching, enjoy, and here we go. Still very much in flux. The entire process has taken a lot longer than I would have liked it to, and a lot of that was because I had gotten in touch with Home Depot to try to get a door put in before I did the floors so that my cats wouldn't be messing everything up as I kept like working on things after the floors went in and the finish has time to cure and all that stuff. And like 3 weeks later, I finally got an answer that they weren't willing to do it because of lead paint concerns, with this being an older house. So I had to go back to the drawing board, and excuse me, had a good friend of mine that came and helped me make the door that I have usable, at least for the moment. And that's what we're rolling with because it closes now. So if you're watching, dude, I appreciate you. I hired him out to help me with a few things. So that's kind of the studio update before we get into the video. And that's also why there haven't been uploads on the channel, because the room that I'm recording in right now is not that space, because it sounds like an echoey death chamber in there, and I want to wait to record the content I really want to create when I have the space to do so. But what I want to talk about today is something that I feel kind of truncates that or takes priority, and this is going to be a video that needs some context and some explanation. But with October being Disability Awareness Month, Meet the Blind Month, the month wherein White Cane Day resides on the 15th, there is something that I've been meaning to try to put words to and to bring to light for a little while, and I just haven't been able to do it. I've thought about writing a script, and I just can't figure out how to do so in a way that feels organic, and so I figured I would just do it this way by talking. So, before we start, some context. For those of you who may be new to the channel or newer, I have been visually impaired my entire life. I was born at 26 weeks, and I have a condition called retinopathy of prematurity. And essentially what that means is that I have a very limited amount of vision in both eyes, and have grown up and received training and been around the blind community for almost 28 years now. And as part of that, of course, I have grown up and gotten into the job market. And I started a job this past July, so just over 3 months ago, actually 3 months ago today, if I am remembering correctly, as a direct support professional for a local organization that supports individuals with disabilities. And part of what we do is called Piece Rate work. And if you've never heard of Piece Rate work, it's something I want to do a more in-depth video on, covering the history and how it came to be and the points of controversy. But essentially, it came out of the factories of the early 20th century, and it exists as a loophole that allows people who do the work that is piece rated to be, as the name implies, paid per piece rather than paid per hour. So when I was growing up, I heard how devastating piece rate work was to a lot of blind people. And to understand why, I want to walk you through a situation that I have been in and talk about something called forced poverty. So when I moved to the state of Minnesota, was on Social Security at the time, and I was kind of in between jobs trying to kind of figure out how I was going to make things work for myself. And as part of being on Social Security, there is a limit of $2,000, at least at the time that's what it was for me, in assets that I could have. That was total at any one time. So I could have, $1,998, but if someone gave me $5, they would start to cut the amount I received per month because I had gone over the $2,000 limit. And any work that I was to do in terms of getting a job that, allowed for me to accumulate more than that $2,000 was also work that got cut, or rather the work cut into what I was eligible for each month. And so when I started my job, the first job that I had when I moved here, which was at the local YMCA, I was earning income, obviously, and I got letters basically saying we're cutting you off from services to this or that degree or by this or that dollar amount. I don't know specifics because you are earning income. And so what happens for a lot of people who depend on government services such as Social Security is that they are constrained by these limitations. And because of that, they couldn't go and get, say, a 20-hour-a-week job, okay? And I know that doesn't sound like a lot to a lot of people, but for someone with chronic back and joint pain, who may only be able to work for, 3 or 4 hours per day, right? A 20-hour week might be pushing the limits of what they feel they're capable of and what they're able to successfully do. But even that 20 hours, not even a full 40, like you or I may be used to working, at 20 hours cuts into their benefits and makes them ineligible to receive them. And so what happened is a lot of places that supported people with disabilities decided, hey, there's this kind of loophole that still exists from, again, it's the early 20th century, and I will work on doing my research more extensively because I don't know people, places, and names specifically, but we're going to take this piece rate, and instead of using it as, something that was used for a while and abandoned, now we can give these people a job. So this person can work their 20 hours a week that they're comfortable with, and we don't have to worry about them being ineligible for services, and so they're still able to receive, let's say, housing and food assistance from the county they live in, but now they can also have a job that helps be productive in the factory type setting where they're working. So maybe that person is, I'll use the example from Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, but putting the toothpaste caps onto tubes of toothpaste, right? And maybe this person makes 5 cents per cap that they put on a tube of toothpaste, right? And so, this person could do 40 of them in an hour, and the company only has to pay this person $2. Now, in 1915, not a bad wage. In 2025, obviously severely less than minimum wage. And when I was part of the blind community, I heard about how devastating this concept of piece rate work was for blind people, because it's forcing you to stay in this system that's keeping you, right, from earning substantive income, keeping you from making a living. And that's no way to live if you have aspirations for greater independence, like I do, and like I've been really fortunate to have in my life. And as of July, I'm working a job where I am directly supervising and working with folks doing this type of work. And it's really, really hard for me because the only difference between them and I is which side of the table we're sitting at. And as a blind person who was fortunate to have a lot of training and a lot of formalized education in orientation, mobility, assistive technology, daily living skills, and things that helped me to become more independent as an employable person, I was able to work myself out of that system of forced poverty. I was able to get what started out as about a 30-hour or so per week job, if that. Actually, it might have been more like 30 hours a pay period for a while. And I was on unemployment after that because my job essentially got defunded. It was the end of COVID. And so the kids I was working with got sent back to school and our program, and then subsequently the YMCA got shut down. And so I was on unemployment, and then I was able to find gainful employment at a childcare center. And then I was, a waged employee per hour. And really, for lack of a better term, dug myself out of that system. And I have been free of that, or those constraints, for about 5 years now. And, when I first kind of reckoned with the fact that this is what I was going to be supporting at my job, I struggled because I don't want to make somebody who is disabled, I don't want to put them in a position where they are living to less than what they might want to. Now, what has challenged me quite a bit is the fact that some folks that I work with are not able to work outside of this environment in a way that would allow for anybody in a typical job setting to be patient and understanding and human enough to work with these people and be respectful and courteous and allow for them to do what they're able to do successfully. And so my workplace provides just that, a workplace where these people can be successful in their jobs. They feel fulfilled, and not just because they say they do. And who am I to discredit that, right? Just because for me and my situation, this is very against a lot of things that I understand about the world, that doesn't mean that those things are true for the people that I work with. And reckoning with that has been really hard because as a disabled member of staff who wants nothing more than for people with disabilities to have equal, equitable access to the world, it's a really challenging place to go to work every day. But my hope is that by being there and by bringing attention to inaccessibility on an organizational level, by working with the staff that I work with every day, by being who I am in the space that I'm in, that maybe I can change the organization and I can change how these things are perceived. And that's a lot to walk into work with every day. And I wanted to talk about it because I think this specifically is a subject that I have not really ever seen discussed in any other spaces, and it's really hard to talk about because there's a lot of really intense opinions surrounding piece rate work, surrounding government assistance, surrounding people with disabilities, and our right to, for lack of a better term, exist. And with the current way that politics and the sentiment of accessibility and just that space right now, it's a very, very fine line to walk. And I've done my best to be an advocate for myself and for the people I work with, to be the squeaky wheel on an organizational level about things that we need to change, while also understanding that a lot of these things are systems that are beyond not just my control, but others that I work with and for. And that's a tough balance. But when you want to talk about October being a month where we're aware of disability and we're aware of the challenges that disabled people face in the US, in the world, I think this is a challenge that goes far and away, not just under the radar, but completely off of it. I think nobody talks about it. The people I work with don't want to talk about it. They don't want to acknowledge that they're complicit, and I'm complicit. And sometimes I'm really upset about that. Sometimes I'm grateful that I get the chance to work for change. Sometimes I am happy that I can help people who wouldn't otherwise be able to find a job feel like they've done a day's work, and set them up with the successful tools, resources, and aids that they need to do so. And sometimes all of that happens within 5 minutes of each other in a given day. So I hope this video was maybe insightful or interesting in some form of fashion. These things are hard to talk about, but somebody has to, and I don't know. I think I'm done not speaking up, and I'm working on how to do so in a balanced way. I need to do more research on piece rate work, and if you have any insight, I'm happy to hear it. What are your opinions on all of this? I know that I haven't been uploading much on the channel, and I'm sorry. I'll hopefully be able to get things going again soon, but this needed to leave me and go somewhere, so out it will go. Thank you for watching this. As always, if you have any questions, comments, queries, theories, concerns, opinions, or anything else, please don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section down below, and we'll see you soon. Peace.